Welcome to Driven to Discuss. This is a program where myself and Rich, my co host, have guests on to talk about the trucking industry, things around the trucking industry, and who knows, maybe some stuff that's completely off of left field. And today we have a guest. His name is Dave B. And if you've ever listened to the podcast Ship's Gonna Happen, then you'll recognize his voice. He's a corporate he's a corporate. Say it again, Dave.
Corporate logistics manager.
Yeah, that's a mouthful. Corporate logistics manager.
Right.
So, from our side of this, as Walmart drivers, we don't really think about this kind of thing, but he's going to give us a perspective today on things like the rates that a lot of these drivers are getting for loads and this kind of thing, and just another side of it that, well, we as Walmart drivers, we don't have to worry about it. So before you came on here, Rich was telling me you're a three-time winner of the Moose Lodge.
Yeah. Yep. My membership's at the Frankfurt, Indiana Moose Lodge. I'm a 3-time past Moose of the Year, 3-time past governor, and then a 1-time district Moose of the Year. So, it's just I'm not as heavily involved, but I'm still kind of do stuff with the lodge and stuff. I'm a 23-year, getting ready to start my 23rd year as a member. So
That's pretty awesome. So in the community, obviously, you must be known then pretty well. That's pretty cool.
yeah, I mean, it's always good to, giving back doesn't necessarily need to mean you need to spend money to give back, giving back time or giving back effort and other stuff like that. It's, to me, it's just as valuable.
Right, right. Well, getting involved in the community, I mean, that's giving back just in itself.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
So I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to you, to Rich. Go ahead and ask him some of the stuff you were thinking.
All right. Well, let's start simple because there's going to be some drivers out there who know what a corporate logistics manager is. Like you said, that's kind of a mouthful. Anything more than dispatcher, and you probably lose some of us anyway. So, what is a corporate logistics manager, and what is your actual job? Like, how do you affect the trucking industry?
So I'm the one that makes the decisions on what carrier we're going to use and at what cost, moving from point A to point B on all of our ground shipments, LTL, and truckload shipments. And that includes inbound raw materials and our outbound finished product. It's legitimately nothing I've done for 37 years. Very first corporation I worked at was a place called General Foam Plastics based out of Norfolk, Virginia. And our main product line was artificial Christmas trees and some little kiddie wading swimming pools. And our biggest customer back at that time was Walmart. So while you guys mentioned earlier, that's not something we really have to, I'm not concerned with what the cost is to get it from wherever to wherever with Walmart because you guys come get your own stuff. But it allowed me to cut my teeth and kind of learn the ins and outs. And, and you guys have I forget what it was called. I forget what it was called, like your guys's system to enter POs in for pickup, but it was super simple. And, it gave you a chance to learn how to cube out a trailer, how much cubic feet of a trailer you're going to put on and, how many POs per truck and all that. And so, but now I kind of make all the decisions. We have about 7 other facilities throughout the corporation, and I just get pricing put in with all the regional LTL carriers, UPS, FedEx, and then whoever our long haul carrier is going to be.
Okay, so if I own Warren Trucking, and how would where would I come in contact with you? If I went to a broker, would they send me to your facility to pick something up and take somewhere, or would I talk to you directly? Like how would I get involved with you?
Kind of both, preferably you and I talking directly. I'm a super old school guy where there has to be, let's just say, Rich, you came in one day and you put in pricing for us to go from here to Sacramento, California, and you came in at, $3,500 or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, all right. And then to me, there has to be some kind of rapport. It can't just be, let's talk, let's put in pricing and let's go from there. There has to be like, hey, want to go, not that we have to go sit on a bar stool, and I'm not advocating sitting on a bar stool, but let's go grab a lunch or a breakfast or something. And there's just got to be more to it than just getting pricing put in place and giving you all my freight and all that. yeah, I'm a super old school guy, so there's got to be some kind of rapport. So, and once that gets put in, we rely on you to be like today, say I have a truck going to I just call it Sac Town, even go Sacramento, California. Can you get somebody in here today? If not today, how about tomorrow? And the stuff that we do now, most of our loads are tanker endorsed, where the driver has to have a tanker endorsement. Doesn't necessarily have to be hazmat, 'cause nothing we ship is hazmat. So yeah, so we just want to make sure all the drivers are tanker endorsed, and let's get a good rate in there. And I've had some relationships that I still have. I mean, in the 37 years I've been doing this, I still have relationships that I've had for over 30 years and stuff. So with particular people, I give people business. I don't give customers business. I don't give carriers business. There's nothing making me give FedEx business over UPS, or there's nothing making me give Estes business over Saya or whoever. Yeah, I'm a rapport guy. So
would it be safe to say that you're one of the middlemen before I would get to a broker? If I could get a hold of you personally, I could maybe save a little money because the broker wouldn't get their cut.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. So, and you guys haul stuff from all different countries like Canada, Mexico, United States, all three, or do you guys pretty much just run US?
So the raw materials, all of our raw materials come in from both sides of the border, whether it's Mexico or Canada. And right now the tariffs are eating us up. And sometimes we ship to Canada. We don't ship it. Sometimes I guess we do ship into Mexico, but if we're going to ship into Mexico, it's just going to go to El Paso, and then Mexico handles it from there. But if we're going into Canada, then we see it all the way through. And sometimes we ship overseas. It's not very often, but sometimes we do. And if we ship to like China or Japan, we let them handle we'll step in and help if we need to. I would prefer to manage it, but with the customs and everything and clearing it with a freight forwarder, it's just better if they take care of it. So
okay, so you kind of said a dirty word a minute ago. So when it comes to the tariffs, how has that been? How has that affected you guys' business recently?
terrible. It's been absolutely terrible. So I'm just gonna be right up honest with you. I'm not sure what you guys are seeing, but it's been absolutely awful. So as soon as it happened, we do a lot of business to coal mines, to the mining industry, and to bring those raw materials in, it's aluminum. So bring that aluminum in, we get it's, I think at the time it's 25%, now it's 50%. They're just like, nope, we're not, we're going to dump you as I don't know where they're getting it from now, but yeah, it's hurt.
So you're saying Canada tries to get coal or that material from us to send up there is what you're saying?
No, so the raw materials just get brought in, and then we ship everything domestically. So it would be a domestic. When we would raise the price on our domestic end customer, then they're like, yeah, no, we're not absorbing those fees. They think that we should. And we're like, well, we're not going to absorb those fees. It trickles down to the end customer. And so we lost these big customers because of this stuff.
So how do you guys plan to recover from something like that? What is your guys' strategy for that? What if
that's a
phase long term?
Yeah, that's a really good question. That's kind of and I don't mean to sound whatever when I say this. It's kind of, that's the sales, like sales kind of does that. And I don't like it when sales is in my business, so I try to stay out of there. I'm not trying to say that I'm not concerned, because I am, because I'm the one bringing the stuff in from the sides of the border. But like on the tomorrow, actually will be the first time in probably 2 months that we brought anything in from Mexico, just because we need the raw materials. So, but yeah, I hope it rebounds, but I'm not sure what's going on.
So because of these tariffs, is it bringing in new people that you've never dealt with before because you have to
No,
somewhere else?
no, we're not changing who we're buying from. At least I don't see that we change who we're buying from. And it's still kind of status quo, but it's not as the volume that it was prior to the tariffs, if that makes sense.
So even with the tariffs, it's still cheaper to get these raw materials from the other countries rather than try to get them here? Or are they just not available in the United States?
Or maybe a little bit of both, and I'm not sure. I talked to our purchasing gal one day last week, but I kind of don't like to bring it up. I might hint at it, and she hasn't said any. She just says we're going to keep buying from Mexico. So I'm like, okay. And as soon as the truck hits the border, that's right when the tariff has to be paid. You can't wait. It's not going to cross until the tariff's paid. So we have to pay the tariff as soon as it gets to the border.
So tariffs affect your company, but not what you do for a living, because you're just trying to get truck from point A to point B from city to city with whatever material your company is trying to move.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I just was curious when you said that. I didn't know how the tariffs were affecting you and your position and how you were doing things, but it does affect the company you work for.
Right. And it does affect the volume. And I mean, in a way, it does affect when our volume level is down with, like, say we were using Rich Warren Trucking to bring all that stuff in out of Mexico, and we had rates set in place based off of the amount of moves that we were going to do. And if we're not doing those amount of moves now, there's more than likely that this carrier or another carrier is going to, they're going to want an increase in costs. So haven't seen that yet, but we'll see what happens.
So it kind of brings up something that I didn't really realize. So when another trucking company or however they're shipping it, when it hits the border, like that company has to pay that tariff or that driver has to do something. Is that how?
So yeah, as soon as that driver hits the border, we have to cut a check for the taxes and get them paid right away, or the tariffs right away, and because the load's not going to cross, and you don't want a driver sitting there stranded for 2 or 3 days. I mean, it has to be paid right then. So an additional 50% of load, that's a lot of money. So
Yeah.
Wow. We're getting through it. Hopefully, this is something that's just short term.
So why not just find other trucking companies who are willing to work for a lower rate to help save money on your company's end of things?
So I that is what I do. I do that, and you just not find it. And if we don't have, like I mentioned earlier, Rich, if these, like, if a lot of carriers are going to do like a 1-off or a 2-off to try to help us, if we don't have any certain pricing already in place with them, or if it's not going to behoove them to have a long-term relationship with us. So you kind of, it's difficult to try to find somebody, but I'm always looking. So
if I had Warren Trucking and I came in and you had a load going from Indianapolis to Sacramento, what would I get per mile for something like that on average?
So right now, I think in my head, I think it's right at $2 a mile, or wait, no, probably $1.67. I think I can move it for $1.67 if I try.
You said $2 a mile, and I was thinking, hey, that's not too bad. Yeah, you said 167, and I'm like, ouch.
Right. Are we gonna go get beers on Friday night, Rich? I'll keep the $2.
If I'm moving it for 167, hopefully you're paying, because I'll be broke.
I got you. But if I go at 2, then I'll let you buy.
Yeah, that sounds good. I figured out how this job works. Okay.
Yeah. It doesn't take much. If they're letting me do it, it doesn't take much. So
gotcha. Yeah, because I hear you guys talk about rates and trucking things on your podcast. Ship's going to happen quite often, and every time you're always like, "Yeah, I need these rates to come down." And I've jumped on the load board once in a while when I hear you say that. I'm like, "Man, what are rates right?" Because the two of us work for Walmart. We get paid by the mile, we get paid by the activity, but we get paid from a company. So if it costs them $4 a mile or 50 cents a mile, I don't want to say we don't care, but we don't see it. So it's not on the top of our mind to worry about what rates are. So I'll jump on a load board and just try to figure out, like, what are rates right now. And they're usually somewhere between $1.70 something and $2.25, somewhere in there. And I know some guys can't operate a truck for less than $2 a mile. Some guys have got their things a little bit more tuned in where maybe they can move it for $1.80 a mile and still make a profit doing it. So
right.
That's why we're so interested in all this, because this is completely out of sight, out of mind, working where we work at.
Sure.
And a lot of times I try to do referrals with people to come to Walmart, and they'll be owner operators, and they're trying to explain to me why they're even considering coming to Walmart. And a lot of this conversation makes it pretty clear why.
Oh, for sure.
What's going to be happening in the next week, month, or year. I get that part.
You don't know how often I get in the back of an Uber and I hear so many Uber drivers saying, I think I'm going to go drive a truck. And I immediately say, hey, if you want to go drive for the Cadillac of all Cadillac, you ought to go be working for Walmart or whatever. You're pretty much bumping dock. You're getting paid all the time and da 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 da. So I'm definitely advocating for you all that, it's so funny to hear how many people want to just start driving a truck or thinking that it's easy or thinking that you're going to make, blah or whatever.
Well, because people like Rich and I have a YouTube channel and we make it sound good, but I try to keep reminding them I've been doing this for going on, 24 years. We're for one of the top companies. But the biggest thing about, driving a truck is where do you live? Because that'll make a huge difference. I mean, that's why I work at Walmart. I live in the most northern part of Northern California, almost Southern Oregon. There's no jobs up here. So I have to drive 150 miles to work, but it's worth it.
Sure.
Then people that, like, I have another friend of mine that works for AVF. He's down in Riverside, and he's got like a 15-minute drive to work. He makes more money than I do, so it really matters where you live.
Yeah. Hindsight being 2020, when I was a little snot-nosed kid working the dock at General Foam, and I see these Walmart drivers coming in with all their press shirts on and their jeans, and they're dressed real nice. They don't want to wait for nothing. At the time, it just didn't register with me where I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go do this. And had I even, man, that'd be nice. That'd be really nice. All the guys from Seymour, Coldwater, Hopkinsville, Grove City, I'm missing Mount Pleasant, Iowa. Way back in the day.
Well, I've been at Walmart for 18 and a half years, and everybody's stuck on the money thing, but I learned a long time ago, it's more than money, it's a lifestyle.
Sure.
Completely different than any other trucking. Before I came here, I drove tanker trucks, food grade. And like I explained it to people, doing stuff like that, cross country, out to Florida and doing orange juice and that kind of thing. My best description is they felt like there was no light at the end of the tunnel.
Okay.
It kind of feels hopeless. Like, is this it?
Yeah.
So a lot of people, they don't think about that kind of thing. They just think, how much am I going to get paid? That's all they want to know.
Yeah.
It's like, well, there's more to life than that.
Sure. Definitely. And Rich has talked about it before, the home time when we've had Rich on the show, the home time would be able to take care of stuff. I mean, that definitely seemed like something that fit in with Rich really well.
Well, Walmart is so flexible. I mean, you have to have at least 30 months of experience before Walmart will even talk to you. But once you can get in the door, I mean, they've got so many different schedules. I mean, I run 6-1 or 6-2 driving with a co-driver to Alaska every week now for Walmart. There's drivers who stay in the lower 48 and they work 5 on, 2 off, 5 on, 3 off. And then there's guys, like Don, who work 5 on, 5 off. They don't do nothing.
I knew that was coming.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
Oh yeah. And the thing is, they pay so good that people ask me, they're like, I can never do that. How could you make a living? And I'm like, well, I've been here over 18 years. I'm like, I still make over 6 figures and I work 50% of the time. I work extra in the busy times because I want to make that 6 figures. Right. But, it's like, I'm not the boss. I'm not an owner operator, but I just call them and tell them, hey, you know what? I want to work extra next week. And they're like, okay, what day you want to come in?
So so Don, the terminals or the DCs you work up out of there, is it like Hermiston, Oregon and Red Bluff, California? Or are those the spots? See, I pay attention.
He's going to be president logistics manager pretty soon.
Right. There we go. Yeah, it's funny. I always, in my 37 years of doing this, I'm always really concerned about my job. And what I mean by that is most corporations farm this job out. They let C.H. Robinson or somebody else take care of it instead of, and that I'm so far, knock on whatever, able to do this for as long as I have. It's few and far between I just keep working hard every day.
Right. Well, that's the thing. People, when I talk people into getting a job here and they think, well, isn't there going to be self-driving trucks or wouldn't Walmart just have somebody else do it? When I first came on here, we had a little over 6,000 drivers back in 06. They didn't hire hardly at all for like, I don't know, 7, 8, 9 years. And then in the last, what do you think, Rich? 5 years, we went from like 6 to 8,000 drivers all the way up to 16,000 drivers. And I tell people, I go, they're not going to hire that many people and then just ditch this whole thing. They're not going to farm it out because most of those people got hired like Rich did because we have grocery DCs that have always been farmed out. And Walmart doesn't want to do that anymore because they don't have control over, their freight, what their business very well when they have something like a CR England or a Swift or whatever running one of our grocery DCs. And that's their goal. Like, well, they used to farm out the thing that you do, Rich, the Alaska thing. We've never done teams, your teams. We have the guy down Crespo down in Texas. They run teams. Yeah, they would like to get rid of all third party if they could. I mean, it's probably impossible, but they'd like to. I mean, that's job security.
And it's not just that Walmart wants to control everything. It's safer and cheaper for Walmart to have their own drivers than to have outside people that they've got to pay more than they would pay their own driver. And you're seeing on the news all the time, everybody's, oh, there's another Walmart truck that got into an accident. But when you go up and you look at the cab, guess what? 99% of the time, that's not a Walmart driver that caused that accident. It's some third party hauling one of our trailers. So Walmart would much rather have their own drivers that they've trained, that they know exactly what's going on. I don't want to say control because it's not really about control. It's just about knowing what's going on and being able to, I hate this is control for lack of a better word, but they can know what's going on and have their fingers in things. And Dave, that might be why you still have the job that you say most people farm out, is because you've been doing it for so long and you are probably better at your job than the broker that they're going to hire that's going to screw everything up.
Yeah, I mean, I hope that's their mentality, but you never know. I mean, it's just the way things are anymore. You're just like, just give me 11 more years. I don't give a crap what happens after that or something like that.
Well, it sounds like our old time drivers. Just give me a couple more years. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
So, I think now would be a good time for us to go on to the next segment.
I was just thinking that.
Yeah. So we have a thing called the Warren Report, and I've said it before on our other episodes that over Rich Warren, he has some unique stories. Maybe they have to do with trucking, maybe they don't. But one way or another, they're either going to be funny or it's going to be part of this conversation. So I'm going to hand it over to Rich with the Warren Report.
Well, since we were just talking about safety and things like that in trucking, I'm going to start the Warren Report off with, on Father's Day, there was a semi on I-84 right here by me in Boardman, Oregon, who didn't take good care of his brakes and ended up causing a wildfire on the side of I-84 that shut the highway down for a couple of hours, which is why Walmart tries to have their own drivers, because they can make sure that the guys are doing what they need to do and are being safe. So British doctors are prescribing poo pills that are filled with freeze-dried feces for a new treatment. Fecal transplants are helping people battle poor gut health, liver disease, and even some advanced cancers. Some people have even unlocked hidden antibacterial resistant factors by taking these poo pills. Between this and everybody eating butt nowadays, I'd say eating crap is no longer an insult, more like a menu option. There's a Society of Real Life Vampires in Australia. I don't know if you guys have heard about this or not. So there are mobsters, doctors, politicians, and many other high status people in Australia that have created a secret society called Vampire Court. Now, they don't turn into bats, but they do have surgically enhanced fangs, and they do drink human blood. Donors are willing and must undergo medical tests before a vampire can taste their subject. There's a gentleman named Don Jason, a local vampire, explained that he actually has a disease called porphyria. Symptoms are sensitivity to light, sun blisters, and reddish-purple discoloration of the skin. In years past, people with this condition have been buried alive And this is where they figure that the whole vampire myth came from, was from people who have this pyphoria and basically the beginning of a vampire. But these people actually hold a ball every single year, and I don't want to say play vampire, because some of these people aren't playing. This is legitimately how they are and how they live. Oh, let's see. One more story we got here. Oh, this is good. So there is a 200-year-old condom on display in Amsterdam's red light district. This condom was made from a sheep's appendix and believed to be from around the year 1830. It's on display at an erotic art show. It has an erotic drawing of 3 nuns and a clergyman on the piece. The art is in reference to the painting A Judgment of Paris by artist Pierre Augustin. The condom appears to be 9 to 12 inches long and 4 to 6 inches around. It was donated by a local brothel. It'll be on display until November, until which it will be returned to its rightful owner, which I guess, Dave, how do they ship that back to you when you want that back in November?
UPS collect. Hey, I guess I'm going to Amsterdam. Is that where that was?
I swear.
So Rich, was it a used one or was it new in the package?
You know what? Being that it's on display, I really don't know. It looked clean to me, but you know, when it was 9 to 12 inches long, I knew it wasn't mine.
Right. Let's get that through TSA. Yeah. Wow.
Shoot. Oh,
So Dave, you live out in Indiana,
Yes.
sir, and you're really involved in the Moose Lodge. Is that how you spend a lot of your extra time, or?
Not so much anymore. Every now and again, yeah. I go to a lot of college sports stuff. Kind of. I also like to stay here. I like to stay home. Home time off is few and far between and pretty valuable. So I like to kind of stay at home, grill out, and spend time at the house.
When you say grill, are you a charcoal grill or like a smoker grill? Like, what kind of grilling do you get into?
Charcoal and smoker, yeah.
Have you ever done a brisket?
No, I never brought myself to do that yet.
I just bought one yesterday for the first time. I'm gonna voyage out into this for the first time and see how it works. So I'm gonna.
You want to? Yeah, tell me how you do. So
I'm gonna start simple. I looked up easiest way to make a great brisket, and I found this Texas recipe. I guess they call it Texas brisket, where it's actually what they call a dry rub. It's just salt and pepper. There's no mustard, no brine, no anything like that. But what you do is you salt it with salt and pepper. You coat it with salt and pepper. You wrap it in plastic wrap for 24 hours. So it's downstairs in the fridge right now. This afternoon, I'll break it open, throw it on the smoker for, I think they said roughly 9 hours, wait for it to stall out around 150 or something like that. I'll wrap it in the butcher paper, throw it back on until it gets to the final temperature and see how it works. But it's supposed to be really easy, and it's actually supposed to be one of the best ways to do it. And I've never done it before, and I've always wanted to try, but I hear all the horror stories about, oh, it's not going to turn out. But I found one on sale. It was a premium cut, which I guess that sounds like a good cut to me. I don't know I'm not a butcher, so I don't know that kind of stuff, but I'm going to give it a shot here this afternoon, and I'll let you know.
Yeah, cool.
I might have to send some your way.
That would be good. Yeah, that'd be good. Yes. I love a good brisket. Go ahead, Don. Sorry.
I was going to say the smoking thing, that has gotten really big with people. I mean, I remember 20 years ago, I never heard anybody talking about smoking. And now you bring up the subject, and if there's 4, 5, 6 guys around, you now got an hour-long conversation about what smoker to get, how to do it, what they've done, and that kind of thing. I just recently went out to Bentonville for a driver meeting here several months back, and somebody brought up the smoking of meat. And we talked for a good hour and 15 minutes just listening to how it's done. I've never done it, but I feel like I know because I've heard so much.
Yeah.
So what kind of smoker do you have, Rich?
I just got whatever that one they sell at Walmart. Is it Pit Boss, I think is what it's called. I don't have a Traeger, the green. I don't have any expensive one. This is like a $250 pellet smoker from Walmart. And I know the pellet smokers, everybody's like, oh, that's being easy. That's not really doing smoker. I understand, but I'm baby stepping into this thing. So, what's your favorite thing to make, Dave? What's your best recipe?
I think I do really good with, I know this is going to sound lame, but I think I do a really good brats. Like when I do my college football tailgates, I just brown them real quick, just brown them on all the sides or as much as I can. And then I throw them in a beer bath with peppers and onions for an hour, let them boil, and then they're ready to eat. So
Wow, so yours is more of a boiled brat in beer.
yeah, brown them up real quick, and then there's everybody raves about them. So, and I think chicken thighs, but I think all that's easy. I cook
That's
salmon
the
on
first
the
thing I did was chicken thighs.
yeah, 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 yeah.
See,
Sure.
we're out here from California, so we do tri-tip. And I always forget that people from the Midwest or the East, they're like, what's a tri-tip?
Yeah.
And I tried to, like, Rich came over and I kept telling him we were going to have tri-tip.
Mhm.
And when he got here, he was like, I didn't know what you were talking about. And I go, that's right. You're from Midwest. You don't know what tri-tip is. It's a certain cut of meat that we have. It's not a brisket,
Okay.
but it's like some between a brisket and like steak.
Okay.
You know? And so that's always been my thing, the brisket or ribs.
Don,
Tri-tip or ribs.
so Don, is it marbled up pretty good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you get it where it's marbled up.
Yeah.
Good. Not so much, but
Yeah. Cool.
So, do you make any sides? Do you have like a good side recipe? What's some of the other things you like to cook?
Oh man, kind of like to cook a little bit of everything. I don't think I do any side really well. Like, I think I do them just okay, but I don't think I do any of them really well. I need to. I don't have a good side recipe. I'll do my best.
Cookbook for my roommate, and I stumbled across a recipe for. I just looked up an easy barbecue sauce recipe, and then once I got a hold of that, I thought, you know what? I like to Frankenstein things. I'll tinker with them. So I tinkered with it, and I added vodka to it, and again a couple of other things, and it made the best barbecue sauce that I have ever had in my life. I jokingly took some to her to work one day, and I gave her an extra little dish to go with the chicken thighs. I said, "You're going to want this extra sauce." I said, "You're going to dip the bones in it." And she called me an hour later. She's never called me from work. She's just the roommate, and she's like, "Oh my God!" She goes, "That sauce." She goes, "I'll dip anything in it." And I said, "Anything?"
Anything?
Now it's this big joke of this barbecue sauce is so good, she'll dip anything in it. So she tells me I should sell it and all this other stuff. I'm like, nah. So I wouldn't give her the recipe for the longest time, but I'm actually selling the place that I'm in right now. And before I leave, I told her, I said, I'm going to give you the recipe for the barbecue sauce. And she was like, oh my God, I can't wait to share. I said, no. I said, give you the recipe. I said, don't be sharing this with nobody. So
That's right.
that's kind of my other thing is I make a really, really good barbecue sauce, apparently by accident, just stumbled into it.
I do baked beans okay. It's been a while since I've made them. They're a little sweeter than I'd like for them to be, but I get compliments on my baked beans. But it's been a minute since I've made those.
So I just that side dishes, that's the wife's job.
Okay, there you go.
I don't want to know anything about it. Just when I'm done with the meat, have the side dish ready.
There you go.
I'll be good with it.
Yeah.
So are you married, Dave?
31 years. Yep.
Uh,
All right, Don, are you married?
I've been together with my wife for 28 years. I'm over here looking at her, so she gives me the okay. Like,
Oh.
She's the actual producer over there pulling all the strings.
We every now and again we would kind of give Rich kind of a little bit of grief about being lonely and stuff out there. I know I don't want to make fun of you, right? It's just all in fun. It's all in just fun. So, yeah.
No, when I listen to your guys' show and you guys mention my name, I'm like, I can't believe they still talk about me. I'm like, this is so awesome.
Yeah, all the time.
You guys could call me a giant turd, and I'd still be like, oh my God.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you're the best. Yeah, we ought to get Don. Don will need to get you on someday too, if you're all right with that. I know there's a huge time difference, but we'll try to work something out.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
Well, they record on Saturdays at like 7 or 8 in the morning their time, so it would be like 5 your time, Don.
I'm awake.
Yeah, that's 9 a.m. our time. So
okay, so that's not bad. It's only 6 our time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm early morning guy. I like getting up at like 4:30 in the morning. Yeah, I mean, but I like the GM. I couldn't imagine doing what you do, Rich, driving all night. Yeah, like 25 years ago, I said, yeah, this is not meant for me, and I've never done it since then.
I've been a night owl since high school, so why change now?
Yeah.
So I haven't heard you guys talk to you guys' shows have been a little spotty recently, but I haven't heard you guys talk so much. Whatever happened with the UFO thing that was going on over, was it Anderson, Indiana or something, where there was a bunch of UFO sightings and then all of a sudden I never heard nothing about it anymore.
Yeah, that was right. That was a good question. That was kind of not, that was more Tony's deal than mine. I was just like, so this is what we're going to talk about. But not that I don't care if that's what we talk about. And it just kind of, Tony just didn't follow through with it.
So there hasn't been anything in the news. There's another, it just like the things in Jersey, it just disappeared.
Yeah. But if it's, and it is but if it's conspiracy related, Tony's probably right on it. So, and I'm just like, are you sure? But teach their own.
I'm not really into that either, but I do remember back before there was smartphones and this kind of thing. When I drove truck, it was AM radio. Hell, we had going across the country. I mean,
I know right where you're going.
yeah, the coast to coast, I
Yeah.
think.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody loved it. They
Yeah.
talked about all kinds of stuff like that, aliens and UFOs, and after so many years went by, and I go, what is the infatuation with this? I mean, people just love it.
So to your point with that, Don, I mean, don't you think a good part of it was those voices, those guys doing that, those voices, those kind of booming, bring you in, nights, after midnight, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I mean, those guys had some booming voices and I mean, they drew you in or whatever. So.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, it was classic AM radio.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Was the guy that ran that show's name Art Bell?
And George Norrie.
Okay, I heard that they're actually making a movie about that show or that guy. I heard it on like 2 weeks ago, and I was like, oh, I do remember something about a guy in that show or that. I never listened to it, but I've heard of it, and I think I'd have to look it up, but I think they're making a movie about that guy or that show.
Okay.
No, I'm gonna have to look it up real quick.
Well, if you look at radio from back in like the 60s and 70s and that kind of thing, they were storytellers and they had, like you said, this booming voice. These guys, they learned it from there, and that was what it morphed into, and it works. I mean, people like that. They like the showmanship,
Oh, I mean, yeah, Rich growing up in the region. I mean, you grew up in the region, right, Rich? Isn't that where you're from? I mean, WLS, any Chicago radio station, even when I was a kid down this way and being on the school bus and listening to WLS or whatever on a daily basis, AM radio. Yeah, I'm still a big AM radio guy. I love it.
I was so close to Chicago growing up that we got all of the Chicago radio stations, TV stations, and all of that. But on a good summer night, we could pick up, was it 22, 16, basically NBC, ABC stations out of South Bend. This is back when you had the television with the knob and the kid. I had to go stand next to the TV and click, 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 click.
You were the remote. Yeah.
It was very cool.
Yeah.
But once in a while, we could pick up a few of the South Bend stations, and then it was always a pain in the butt because my parents were divorced when I was a kid. My dad lived in like Walkerton, LaPorte, and we were in Northwest Indiana, so close to the border that we were one of the 2 counties, I think it was, that stayed on Central Time when the rest of the state would switch to Eastern, and we could never remember, well, is he an hour ahead this week or is he an hour behind? It was back when all that was going on.
Yeah. Wow.
So it says Paul Giamatti is set to play Art Bell in a biopic.
Okay.
And that's what I heard. I remember Paul Giamatti being a name that's coming into that. Now I don't know when it's coming out or none of that, but they're, I guess, in beginning talks of doing a biopic for Art Bell. I just remember hearing
that's going to be a little bit different take on a movie, because usually movies have some kind of visual that you can relate to. What can we relate to with these guys? I just listened to them with audio all these years.
Right.
So they're going to have to really play this movie up with just what they say and how they talk. That'd be interesting, I think.
Yeah.
Were either of you guys fans of Spaceballs?
I never saw it.
Okay. I heard that Mel Brooks is 98 years old, and apparently in 2027 they're going to release Spaceballs 2. Rick Moranis is coming out of retirement. He hasn't been in a movie since I think they said 1998, and he's going to play Lord Helmet or Dark Helmet, whatever his name was in the original. There, if Mel stays alive long enough, I'm guessing there's going to be a Spaceballs 2 in 2027. Something I heard the other day as well, just talking about movies. So
Cool.
So you never saw Spaceballs?
No, I'm not a big movie guy. I don't know
Okay.
why. I just never have gotten into movies. I mean, if something's on, I'll maybe watch it. I just don't make it a point to like, oh, I got to go see the Rich Warren movie 3. And I'd be like, there was a 1 and 2. I mean, you know, I just am so out of the loop on stuff anymore. So
Well, they made a Rich Warren movie. It was called Tommy Boy because my friends used to call me that when I was a kid because me and him were spitting images. So
were you selling Callahan auto parts? Is that what you're doing?
no, but I was an idiot.
I knew somebody as soon as I said it. I knew somebody was going to catch it. I'm glad you brought that up because that was the first thing I thought when you and I met. I'm like, he looks like Tommy Boy.
There you go. That's funny.
Well, I've said it before. When it comes to movies and TV and that kind of thing, at least my generation, I'm 54, and referencing like in conversation or when something happens, my wife and I, we always reference movie, like little clips or scenes.
Sure.
A lot of times it lands up being the inside joke because the younger kids are like, what are you talking about?
I've always said there's two types of people. There's movie people and there's music people. When you go through life, you quote one or the other. You either quote music lyrics or you quote movie lines.
There you
My
go.
wife is both.
There you go. Cool.
And so, Dave, you're more of a music guy.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Yeah.
And so you guys used to talk a lot about music on your show. You guys went through there for a while and you did every year. And then this got to a few years where you're like, this music sucks. They just quit.
Right.
Hello, what happened to music?
So yeah, we've not been really good about sticking to a format lately. It's a lot of times it's like, I don't know, not making excuses. We need to get better at what we're doing and not, but yeah, it's been a minute since we've talked music. So
Well, your guys' show is great because it's really evergreen. You could, if somebody had never heard your guys' show, you could go back right now and listen to episode 1 and start and just go through every episode and you won't really miss a whole lot. You guys are really good about keeping your topics and things that are going on current, but yet at the same time fresh to where if I was to go back and re-listen to an episode, I wouldn't feel like I missed anything. So your guys' show is great for doing stuff like that. As to where ours, like a minute ago, I noticed yesterday when I was making up stuff for the Warren Report, like the first story I gave you guys, it was a story that happened on Father's Day. 3 months from now, if somebody happens to hear this episode, they're going to like, Father's Day, that was 6 months ago. What was they talking about? So,
right.
yeah, your guys' show is good about not doing that kind of stuff. So, but you guys are always entertaining, no matter what you guys, whether it be talking about UFOs or the trucking industry, it's always entertaining no matter what. So anybody listening to this, I'm sure Don will put a link in the description. You got to check out Ship's Gonna Happen. And you are such a salesman. I cannot tell you how many times I go, I'm thinking about getting on a plane and going to Indianapolis just to go check out this restaurant bar that you talk about all the time.
Right. Yeah, I was there Friday and Saturday evening this past weekend. It's just a hole in the wall spot, and normally they're not open on Saturdays, but then music this past Saturday, so we went in there, my sister and her husband, and yeah, just kind of a cheers place where everybody knows your name, and the service. I'm a service guy. It doesn't necessarily, the quality of food doesn't really have to be top notch, but if the service is right there, then you got me. I mean, there's a couple.
That's how I am too.
There's a couple places on Fridays we'll go into, and we'll get like 3 shots and 3 beers a piece, and because the bartender knows us really well and he knows we tip really well, the bill will be like $4 or $8. He knows he's getting a $50 tip. So, but anyway, again, yeah, I'm not advocating drinking and driving. Make sure you get an Uber, all that stuff. So
Yeah, that's something that I keep meaning to tell you. That's a segment you guys could have in your show is stories from the Uber, because you always bring up the fact, oh, I was with this Uber driver and we talked about this and talked about that. And I mean, like I said, you guys, everything you guys bring up is always entertaining to me. But the Uber stories, I'm always like, man, I wish you would have got more into it, because I want to know more about what happened in this Uber. That almost could be its own episode, is what happened in the Uber. So
they're so captivating because you get a wide range, a wide demographic of all types of people coming from all different walks of life and countries. And I had a gal this past Friday, I think it was either Friday or Saturday night. She was a private chef for some corporation in Indy, and I'm like, tell me about what you like to cook for the group. And she's talking about salad dressings, and she's mentioning every salad dressing under the sun, but she doesn't say blue cheese. I go, what about blue cheese? And she's like, well, I never thought of that. And I'm like, what do you mean you never thought of that? I mean, it should be like right at the top view in my head or whatever. But she goes, I'm going to have to try. It was just such a really good conversation. It's one of them things where because it also gives you the opportunity to hear about other people's lives, or what brought them to the United States, or what keeps them doing, or what they want to do, or why they want to get into trucking or something like that.
yeah, like why is a chef doing Uber? I mean, did she make great money? Did she have a full-time job? Why is she doing an Uber? That's one of the things I always think when you talk about somebody. I'm like, why are they doing Uber?
Yeah, but I get that all the time. I'll get people running a bank driving Uber, or I'll get people, I had one of the executives for the Pacers, his private driver, be my Uber driver one time. And I'm like, what are you doing driving in an Uber? And he pulls up in this big full-size Rivian. I think that's what it's called, a Rivian, Rivan. Yeah. And I'm like, ooh. And he's like, yeah, I'm Donnie Walsh's personal driver. And I'm like, what are you out doing this for? But just something to do,
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's Alice.
or in DoorDash and things like that. Like I've delivered food. I've picked up one passenger, I think, in the time that I've done it. But the reason that I started doing it was when I moved out here to Oregon and Washington. I didn't know anybody and I didn't know the area. So on my 1 or 2, 3 days off, whatever it was like, I'm bored. I don't know anybody. So I signed up to deliver food and people, because it was a good way for me to learn the streets and learn the town and see things and all that kind of stuff. So that's why I get it. But I'm a truck driver. I mean, I could use extra money. A guy that's the personal driver that's just crazy. I don't know why them guys would be doing it, but it makes for good stories. Like I said, whenever you bring up the Uber stuff, I'm always like, "Ooh, yeah, Uber stories. What's going on this time?"
Yeah, I've got some better ones for a different day, but yeah.
You had one of that guy that was basically fleeing his country because it was under civil arrest or something. And I mean, I was just like, the stories that you find I'm just like, the Uber stories are the best.
That emotionally got to me that day, and it still does thinking about it now. It just, because you don't think stuff like that goes on or whatever. You're like, it doesn't happen here, so it doesn't happen anywhere. But to hear, it's such a, such a emotional, geez. And you're proud that he's away or he's safe or whatever, but then you also feel for his family having to deal with that stuff. So,
yep.
There was actually a movie, and it was just exactly about that same thing. I think it was I'm trying to remember what actor it was, but basically this guy came over to America just for like whatever it was, like a week or two, and then his country went into war and he couldn't go back, so he lived in the airport because they wouldn't let him in the United States.
Yes. Yep.
Wow, really? I'm gonna have to look that movie up now. That sounds kind of interesting.
Who's the guy that does Turner Hooch? What was that actor?
Tom Hanks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's a Tom Hanks movie. Okay, I don't remember the name, but it was. And then so like they wouldn't let him in America, so he just lived in the back corner, and like all this crazy stuff happened, and then finally they quit being a war and he got to go home. But it's just funny you were mentioning that.
Well, see, the Ship's Gonna Happen podcast has got a movie star on their thing too. I think, is it Francois? Is that his name?
Yeah, Francois. Yeah. He's working on his own personal. Yep.
Yeah, he's doing his own movie about how he grew up in France and how he came to the United States with like $6 in his pocket and a pack of smokes or something, and he made it the rags to riches kind of story. So he's been on their show a few times. Like I said, their show goes. Whenever you tune in, you have no idea what you're going to catch that week. It could go anywhere.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go and listen more. I've only listened to a couple of episodes. You guys are still just audio, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I gotta
Do you think anybody want to look at the three of us?
I don't know. Our first episode had what 4,000 watch hours. I think in the first 24 hours.
Yep, you're right.
So
I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that Rich and I have audiences on our YouTube channel, and we brought some people over.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens going forward in the future. But
We've talked about that, but it's just like, meh, it's not worth it. So,
well, we're YouTube guys, so it just comes natural. Got to be on the video there,
yeah.
So Don, well, you got anything for Mr. Dave here? I think we got to get going for our next guest. We got a couple recordings to do today. We'll be respectful of his time and let him go and get on with his day.
No, I was just gonna ask, where can people find you other than Ship's Gonna Happen, the podcast? Is there any other?
Yeah, no, I'm not a big social media guy. Neither is the podcast, but you can find the podcast on pretty much all the platforms, but I kind of don't do. Every now and again I'll pop on there and I'll see what Rich is up to, and I'm always like to see where he's at, what he's doing or whatever. And so, but yeah, I don't really do social media a whole lot.
They're big time, Don. They've got billboards. We
do have a billboard. Yeah, I forgot about that. We do. It's not up right now, but if we asked it to go up, they would put it up for us. So it's digital billboard. So yeah.
Well, now you got me thinking. I want to get on a billboard, but a particular one. I don't know if they have this out in your area there, Dave.
Mm-hmm.
But here they have a truck and you've probably seen it, Rich. It drives around with a big TV screen on the back door.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I've always wanted to put my YouTube channel on there. Maybe we should put our podcast on there.
That'd be good.
Well, okay, I'll put the link in the description.
Yeah, and we'll put a link for you guys on ours also.
I appreciate that, man.
Thank you.
And I don't want to invite myself back, but if you ever want to have me back, I'd be more than happy to come back.
Oh, well, I'm pretty sure we're gonna have you back.
So maybe instead of that avocado cook-off, we'll have to come up with some sort of grilling thing between me and you.
Right. Well, we do it. Yeah. And also too, I know it's super early, but I think you and I kind of maybe talked about this last year a little bit, Rich, but we do have an ugly sweater coming up as for charity at the end of the year. So
I might actually be in town for that. So if I'm in the area to visit my brother, I might come down for that.
That'd be awesome.
Yep.
Don, it's very nice to meet you.
Yeah, good to meet you.
Hall of Famer, good to see you.
Appreciate it. Two-time Hall of Famer.
Well, that's right. That's right. You guys take care. What am I? Yeah, well, yep.
So yep, I'm gonna go ahead and finish it up with if anybody out there, you have good ideas for like the Warren Report, specialty stories, and that kind of thing. I'll put Rich's email in the description. Just send him an email. Hey, I know this cool thing, or whatever, something unique. And then if there's anything that you'd like to see happen, or a different guest come on, or just a topic you'd like to hear about, go ahead and drop me an email. I'll put my email in there also. And I think that pretty much does it. That's a wrap for this week.
Appreciate it.
Yep. Thanks, Dave.
Good to see you guys.
All right. Have a great one.
Bye.